Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video on the Gooners and Gloves Podcast channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and reactions to the potential transfer of Eberechi Eze to Arsenal. Obviously, this is something that's really picking up a lot of steam. We know that Eberechi Eze is very keen on the move, and so I just thought I'd go on and make a video kind of just giving my thoughts on Eberechi Eze to Arsenal, what I think he brings to the team, how I think he improves us. Do I think the transfer will happen? Basically, just going to be doing a full video on Eberechi Eze in terms of what he brings to Arsenal, whether I think the transfer will happen, whether I want it to happen, and basically it's just going to be a full video about Eberechi Eze, similar to what I did with Rodrigo I think about a month ago, similar to what I did to Rodrigo. I'll also be doing for Eberechi Eze. Obviously, in the recent days, this has been picking up a bit more steam. Arsenal, by the sounds of it, are preparing their first official bid to Crystal Palace, and Arsenal and Crystal Palace have definitely been in direct contact with each other, so it has been picking up a bit more steam. And to be fair, I've been meaning to make an Eberechi Eze video for a while now, but I wanted to wait till it kind of started to get a bit more, kind of ramp up a little bit more. Obviously, now that the Victor Gyökeres stuff is done and we've announced all our signings, now it sounds like very much the priority right now is Eberechi Eze for Arsenal. They really want to get this deal done, and of course we know that Eberechi Eze himself is very much keen on the move. So yeah, obviously, if you guys don't know, Eberechi Eze did play in Arsenal's academy and was unfortunately released. And of course, we all know the story. Eberechi Eze was left in tears when he got released from Arsenal, and he's made it clear that his absolute dream is to get back to Arsenal and to play for Arsenal. And of course, this is one of the key reasons why the fans, including myself, really want this move to happen. This is why so many of the fans, like myself, are fully behind Eze, because ultimately we want him to come home. Do you know what I mean? We want him to come home. End of the day, he's an Arsenal fan. He started out at the Arsenal academy, and now he's got the opportunity to come back to Arsenal and prove to Arsenal why they made such a mistake in releasing him, because there's no doubt we did. I mean, we did make a mistake releasing him. He's an absolutely superb player. What an excellent player, and hopefully we can see him in an Arsenal shirt very soon. So yeah, pretty much let's go on and just get into a few talking points. So the first obvious thing to talk about is Eberechi Eze wants to join Arsenal. We know that he's very keen on it. Obviously, as I mentioned before, he did unfortunately get released from the academy and has been working his way back to Arsenal, and now he's got the opportunity to. Obviously, we know there's a bit of competition. I think Chelsea's definitely been interested. We know that Tottenham Hotspur, of course, our rivals, have been interested. We know that, and especially now that unfortunately James Maddison did get quite a nasty injury in pre-season, so now of course Spurs are going to be even more keen on Eze. Obviously, there was Chelsea, to be fair, Bayern Munich as well. There were talks of Bayern Munich, obviously, to reunite him with Michael Olise, but hopefully Arsenal can win out on the race. And to be fair, I'd imagine that Eberechi Eze probably mainly wants Arsenal. End of the day, it's his dream to go back to Arsenal, and obviously Arsenal is a very exciting prospect for him, so hopefully we can go on and win that race. And it does sound like we're very much the favourites in that race, which is good to hear, although of course understandably Eberechi Eze can't wait forever, which is completely fair enough. Obviously, we know Crystal Palace are going to be keen on keeping Eze, especially as they're trying to they're obviously appealing the decision to not be accepted into the Europa League, so you can imagine if they do win that appeal and make the Europa League, they're going to really want to keep Eze. However, at the same time, Crystal Palace have made it clear that if their valuation is met, they're happy to let him go and they won't stand in his way, which is obviously great to see, because end of the day, Eberechi Eze has done a lot for Crystal Palace. He's obviously played a lot of games for them, scored a lot of goals, gotten loads of assists, and of course scored the winning goal in the final of their first ever trophy, the FA Cup, last season, which of course was a fantastic moment. So yeah, that's kind of just the general context behind this transfer, but now let's get into some actual thoughts. So first of all, one thing that people are debating is where Eberechi Eze would actually play at Arsenal. So we know he's a very versatile player, a very dynamic player, and primarily I'd say his positions are left wing and the 10. Those are the two main positions, and ultimately this is where people are, like, Arsenal fans seem to be a bit in debate about whether he should play. Some are saying he should be the left winger and he's fantastic on the wing and should be our left wing option, whereas others are saying that no, keep Eze where he's most comfortable, which of course is the attacking midfield role. Put him in that number 10, rotate him with Martin Odegaard. So you can see that people are very much split on where they would want Eze to play, and I think that's a good sign. I think that's a very good sign of a potential signing. The fact that players, the fact that fans are a bit indecisive of where they want them to play, that shows that they're very talented, that shows that they're very multi-dimensional, and end of the day, we know that Mikel Arteta absolutely loves players that can play multiple positions, that are versatile, that are multi-dimensional, and I think we can definitely say that Eberechi Eze absolutely is very multi-dimensional, very versatile. Absolutely, we can definitely say that. So Yeah, I think it's very interesting. Obviously, we'll have to see where he can play. End of the day, I'm honestly fine with him playing in either side because I think he's very good at left wing and as the attacking midfielder. So honestly, I'd be fine either way. End of the day, Eberechi Eze is a fantastic dribbler, a really good passer, a very good creative player, and ultimately, I think that whether he plays in the 10, in the attacking midfield, in left wing, wherever he plays, I think he'll be very impactful and will improve the team. And this is the key thing. I really want this transfer to happen. I'm a massive fan of Eze, and I just think he really, really improves this team. First of all, the creativity. Now, I'm not saying that Arsenal are terrible creatively. They do create a lot of chances, but also one thing to bear in mind is we did see last season that we did really struggle against low blocks. We know that low blocks absolutely are our kryptonite. We really do struggle against low blocks. However, Eberechi Eze absolutely can unlock that problem. Eberechi Eze is fantastic against low blocks. He's great at dribbling. He's really good with the ball at his feet. He can make things happen, and that's the thing. His creativity is absolutely fantastic. He gets so many assists, so many goals for Crystal Palace. We know that Crystal Palace in recent years have been one of the most dynamic, explosive attacking teams in the league. They've been very exciting to watch, and we saw last season how, incredibly exciting Crystal Palace was to watch in the attack, and Eberechi Eze was a very big reason for that. He was very creative, and ultimately he's really he really makes that team tick, if you get what I mean. And that's the thing, Eberechi Eze can really make a team tick. He's got that creativity, he's got that creative spark. You put him on the pitch, and you're going to be getting really good chances being created. You're going to be seeing things happen, and end of the day, he's just one of those players that's so creative and can really just make things happen. And I think for Arsenal, a team that constantly struggles against low blocks, and maybe in a game where we're struggling, we're finding it difficult, the team's parking the bus, bring Eberechi Eze on and see the creativity start to flow, and I think that'll be really good. And having him and Martin Odegaard both in that 10, or alternatively him and Gabriel Martinelli in the left wing, I just think that increases our creativity so much, and it can definitely make us a much more dynamic, free-flowing team, which would of course be fantastic. We have been seeing that already. We've become a bit more free-flowing. We have seen in pre-season, apart from the Spurs game, of course, that we did look a bit more free-flowing, a bit more dynamic against AC Milan and Newcastle, and I just think adding Eberechi Eze to that will make us such a good creative team, and we could really, really be looking at a lot of assists. And I just think he unlocks so many players. He of course would unlock Gyökeres, of course Eberechi Eze would really help to unlock. Obviously, Martin Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, and let's not forget that both Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke obviously have a very good relationship with Eberechi Eze. We've seen plenty of pictures of those three in England training. They know each other very well. They play with each other well. So I think that's another thing. The chemistry that Eberechi Eze will already have with the team will be fantastic. Obviously, Eze is good friends with Declan Rice, with Noni Madueke, with Bukayo Saka. So he's already good friends with quite a lot of the team, and I think that's something that's really going to help. He's going to be able to integrate very quickly. Not to mention, Eberechi Eze is Premier League proven. That's absolutely a fact. Eberechi Eze is absolutely Premier League proven. He's been in this league for, multiple years and has consistently delivered. And, Crystal Palace, a team that's consistently been mid-table, so the fact that he's been able to consistently deliver high attacking output, high threat is really, really good to see. And of course, at Arsenal, where, we do create loads of chances and we do have a really good, we definitely have attacking spark. I think that he's just going to be able to unlock this team so well. So that would certainly be really, really good. It's kind of just that creativity. He's really creative. He can really help against low blocks, whether he plays in the 10, the attacking midfielder, the left wing. I just think the creativity, the crosses, the passing, the ball to feet, everything is just fantastic and will really, really help us against those more defensive teams, those more park the bus sort of teams where we need to open them up, where we need to get a goal. Eberechi Eze will certainly help with that. Another good thing about Eberechi Eze is that he's consistently always been one of the players in the Premier League who has turned up in the run-in of the season. Sort of the last 8 to 10 games of the Premier League season, Eberechi Eze has always been one of the best in the run-in, and I think this is something that's really going to help Arsenal, because end of the day, Arsenal, obviously, if they are to win the Premier League title, and to be fair, this goes for any team, if you are to win the Premier League, you need your players to be turning up in the run-in, in those last sort of 8 to 10 games where you can't afford to drop any points, where you have to, you have to score, you have to win, you can't drop any points. And we've seen that consistently. Eberechi Eze is always one of the best players in the league in that time period, and last season was no different. Last season, in sort of the last like 10 to 12 games, Eberechi Eze went on an absolute tear. Without a doubt, he went on an absolute tear in the league, and he was just scoring so much, not to mention other competitions, the FA Cup, of course, which he went on to win with Crystal Palace. So that's something else that Eberechi Eze is really good at. He's always consistently turned up when it really matters, especially in the running of the league, sort of the last 8 to 12 games, and that's something I think we really need, because that's one thing that, some of our players have struggled with. They struggled, they've maybe fallen out of form a bit in the running of the team. So obviously having someone like Eberechi Eze who consistently always turns up in the running, especially like he does decent at the start of the season and everything, but he's someone who just excels excels and grows as the season goes, which of course is brilliant. And he absolutely just reaches a whole new level in the run-in, which is something that Arsenal will really benefit with, especially obviously being in another title race, because end of the day, if you are to win a title and a title race, you need your players to be turning up in the run-in especially, and Eberechi Eze is certainly capable of that. He's also just in general a player who's done it on the big occasion. We've obviously seen him do quite well for England, and of course, as we know, he did score the winner in the FA Cup final, so he certainly is a player for the big occasion. We know that for a fact. He definitely is. You know, he's done it for England, he's done it in the FA Cup, in the Premier League, so he's a player for the big occasion, and I think he'd absolutely revel in the opportunity to play again for Arsenal, and of course to turn up in the big games. Not only that, but seeing him in the Champions League I think would be absolutely fantastic as well. But all in all, as you guys have probably gathered from this video, I rate Eberechi Eze massively. I'm a huge fan of him. He's consistently been one of my favourite players in the Premier League, and I want this transfer to happen. It's as simple as that. I want Arsenal to get this deal over the line. I'm a massive fan of Eze. I really want to see him at Arsenal. End of the day, huge fan of him. And I don't know if I've mentioned this. I don't know if I've told you guys this before, but Crystal Palace are actually my second team. I love Crystal Palace. They're my second team. So naturally, as you can imagine, because of that, Eberechi Eze has consistently been one of my favourite players in the Premier League. Always been a massive fan of him. Always rated him. So really do want him at Arsenal. You know, obviously some might say I'm a bit biased because Crystal Palace are my second team, and maybe I am, but aside from that, like, he's just a fantastic player. He's so good. He obviously wants to play for Arsenal with the whole story of the academy, and ultimately I really want to see him at Arsenal. So hopefully Arsenal can get this one done. That's my opinion. I want to see him, whether he plays left wing, attacking 10, midfielder, whatever he plays, I don't mind. I just want to see him in an Arsenal shirt. I'm a massive fan of him, and it would just be so good. Obviously Arsenal and Crystal Palace do have a good relationship, have done several deals with each other over the years. Obviously we had Sambi Lokonga on. Obviously they had Sambi Lokonga. They had what's his name? Obviously they bought Rob Holding from us. They bought Eddie Nketiah from us. So we've definitely done some good business with Crystal Palace over the last few years. So hopefully that sort of has established a good relationship. Not to mention, of course, the absolute legend Ian Wright, which of course did play for both clubs. So of course we have an established history of good business with Crystal Palace, and we've certainly established a good relationship with them. So hopefully we can get this deal over the line. But I really want to see Eberechi Eze in an Arsenal shirt, as do like 99% of the fan base. The fan base seem pretty unanimous here. We all want Eberechi Eze at Arsenal. We all want Eberechi Eze to come home. Eberechi Eze himself wants it, so hopefully it can happen. Obviously, as I said before, I love Crystal Palace. They're my second team. I was absolutely gassed when they won the FA Cup. Seriously, I was so happy. Honestly, I probably should have made a video on it, but I was absolutely gassed when they won the FA Cup. So obviously, Eberechi Eze, always been one of my favourite players in the league. Absolutely massive fan of him, and I want to see him at Arsenal. So hopefully Arsenal can get this one done. But end of the day, the key things about Eze is his creativity, his ability to turn up in the big games, his ability to turn up in the run-in, and ultimately he's just a fantastic player that I think really improves Arsenal. And as mentioned before, he's coming from a club that I absolutely love in Crystal Palace, so of course that's going to be awesome as well. Getting a player from a club that I love already and coming to our club is just going to make me, you know, be an even bigger fan of him. So yeah, but thank you guys so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Crystal Palace fans, please let me know down below, do you want to keep Eberechi Eze? Are you happy to sell him? How are you guys feeling about that? And yeah, pretty much, thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day. Please let me know down below what you think of Eberechi Eze to Arsenal. Do you want Eberechi Eze at Arsenal, or do you not? And with that, I'll catch you guys on another podcast soon. Bye bye.